and I wasn't sure how it would test me mentally. So I was going through like depression and just struggling with anxiety. And then I just thought, to tick a box and just put myself out there.
The way this is the way I'm kind of putting this all together is it's going to be snippets, video snippets,
Yeah.
but it's also going to be like mainly audio. So I'm going to take like audio from different people and kind of string it into a story about kind of creativity and boredom when it comes to training and exercise.
Yep.
So yeah, like the obstacle course race stuff is just is wicked. Like, I've kind of been interested in that thing since I got into gladiators when I was little, and then Ninja
Yeah.
Warriors when I was a little bit bigger, and all of that. So yeah, I thought it'd be good to kind of chat to you about your experience with it. Um, but yeah, so the first question is basically to introduce yourself, just your name, where you're from, and what you're known for.
Okay. So my name's Shyla. From the UK, place called Slough, and I'm probably more known for my appearance on SAS Who Dares Wins. And then I got into obstacle racing about a year after. And yeah, so that's kind of how I began in OCR.
And what was your like? What was it kind of like your fitness background before OCR and before SAS?
So before SAS, I used to play, well, I still play a bit, but I play football. So it was mainly playing football and just going gym in general and just keeping fit. Yeah, just having fun in the gym.
And then like most people go to the gym and train, but very few people will decide to go on a reality TV show and also get into obstacle course racing. So what was it that drew you to those?
I guess it was just at a time of my life where I was sort of, I've always, in a way, been kind of driven by fear, if you the best way to describe it as such.
Mm.
I never really stepped out of my comfort zone. Like growing up, I've always been good at sports and like physically fit and stuff, but then I never pushed myself to challenge myself. So I just one day I was just sitting down and I used to watch SAS a lot and it was one of my favorite shows, but I also knew that everything on the show was a level of fear and something that would challenge me. And and I wasn't sure how it would test me mentally, so I was going through like depression and just struggling with anxiety. And then I just thought to tick a box and just put myself out there, fill out the application form, and didn't think I didn't even think anyone would read it, let alone me go through the process of getting on the show. And then I ended up on the show itself, and then yeah, and it just went from there. And then so it was like an unreal experience in the fact of I didn't expect to appear on it, and then I eventually just kept pushing myself through the show, facing like fears, whether it was heights or just general challenges within the course itself, and just seeing how mentally tough I was because physically, I kind of knew physically I could keep going, but you never know how your mind's gonna cope in that, especially that sort of scenario because you're getting pushed to your limits and the way how you're treated within the show, the way how they speak to you, they push you to overcome stuff and go above your limits because a lot of the times your mind will give up before your body sometimes gives up. So it's about knowing to that you can keep going, that you've got a little bit extra in you to keep pushing no matter what the challenge is ahead of you.
I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and the phrase that kept coming up, this lady was talking about like overcoming. She had this kind of she'd had an accident, and the accident had caused her some kind of neurological issues. And one of the tips that the doctors gave her was run to the fear. And I was like, wow, that's like I love that phrasing. And you kind of like rang that bell again, like run to the fear, and that's kind of like overcoming, things like depression. So
Yeah,
is that the obstacle course racing? So once SAS finished shooting, you needed to carry on with that kind of mentality. So was that where
yeah,
the obstacle course racing came in?
yeah. Because I finished the show and obviously I got to the end and then the DSs selected me as like someone as one of the winners. So I kind of after that it was like continue on that sort of path of doing stuff that you may not feel good at or feel like confident in yourself, and it might take you out of your comfort zone. And mine was like the social anxiety aspect of it and being around big groups. So in the UK, Ninja
Mm.
Warrior was off TV for quite a while because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
then
Mm.
when I left the show, I went and embarked on a lovely little challenge with one of the girls who was on the show as well. And then we I saw the application for the show that they're re-airing it, and it was going to be back on TV. So I just applied for it. And I thought I've always loved Ninja Warrior, but at the time before SES, I was just scared to do something like that because it's it's a different scenario to how SES is structured because you're in front of a live audience if you get on the show, and it's something that the area I'm from, you don't have the opportunity to train those sort of stuff, and it's not as widely like advertised that side of fitness. So I wasn't even really aware
Mm-hmm.
of any fitness centers that done ninja style training until I applied for the show, and then done a little bit of research and found a center that actually was solely focused on ninja training. And then I got on Ninja Warrior, and then it obviously opened my eyes to the ninja community and how big a
Mm.
world it was. And then from that, it linked onto the OCR side of it that there's another aspect of you run, you go through different obstacles, and it just made and it in my head it was like that's the kind of challenge I want. I
Mm.
was building up the strength to be able to get across obstacles and hang off stuff and get through courses, but I wanted to push myself a little bit further and add in the running side to because it's like the ultimate fitness of you have different strengths and you might be weak in one thing, but it's just actually trying to get better as an all-round obstacle course racer in that aspect, and that's how it led me into the OCR world. And then yeah, just continued from there.
So how much of OCR is like for you? Is it a metaphor for literally getting over life's obstacles, and how much of it is just play?
I'd say a lot of it's play, um, and then some of it because obviously every course is different, and some courses have water elements. And with me, I've never been a strong swimmer. I'm still not a strong swimmer, and
Mm.
so deep water as such and like maybe going off sometimes you go in slides that take you into the water and that sense of like the fear of heights and stuff and then going into another fear into water, it makes a race a challenge for me because it's a bigger obstacle for me to get over because I love the
Mm.
suspension obstacles and the different attachments, and that's probably my strength in the courses, so that's more the play for me. And then the running
Mm.
and the swimming. Like I've always been able to run because of the football background and just general fitness, but pushing yourself in running. And as a lot of OCR racers like to say, being in the pain cave, which not everyone wants to be in the pain cave, and I'm still challenging myself to be there because I tend to I describe myself as I cruise around courses, and I have like an element
Mm.
of where I'm not 100% pushing myself in my running as such, so I'm not dying, but I can keep going on. If you give me an obstacle after obstacle, I'll just keep going and it just be fun, fun, fun. But so it's a mixture. I just love playing on the rigs and stuff. So the running, adding that into it and having to push yourself to get around, especially the longer courses, because some of the courses can be really long, which have like long stretches of running and minimal obstacles. And so
Mm.
it's that mentality of knowing that you've got to do the thing you might find slightly uncomfortable to get to the thing you love doing.
So this question is going to sound similar to what I've just asked, but how much of OCR appeals to the young Shyla, like the
Um,
child Shyla?
it appeals to the young Shiloh probably a lot more, not in the sense it doesn't as much now, but as a kid, I was just I was just known as I could just run forever and just loved playing and hanging, and as you said like about gladiators and stuff, that was me watching that show as well and just loving seeing like them go through the hanging versions of the course and the swinging and the battling the
Mm.
gladiators to get through the course and just that element. So I think if I'd got into it at a younger age and it was more the word I'm looking for, if it was just more known as when I was a kid that that was something I could do as a sport,
Mm.
I feel like the younger Shyla would have just, yeah, loved it so much and excelled even more. Like a lot of people, and I class myself as pretty good, but a lot of people say I'm like the way how I've come into the sport quite late, but I'm still extremely good at it. I think the younger Shyla would have excelled even more.